You are being lied to about why you keep failing. Not by other people. By yourself. Every single time you quit something and told yourself, I just need more motivation, that was a lie. A comfortable one. Because the truth is uglier. You were never weak, you were never lazy, you were scared of who you'd have to become if you actually finished what you started. And some part of you chose the comfortable failure over the terrifying responsibility of succeeding. Sit with that for a second. Because it should make you angry. It should make you angry that you've watched people less talented than you, less prepared than you, beat you. Not because they were better, but because they simply refused to stop on the day you stopped. That day you decided to start tomorrow. That day is the reason you are exactly where you are right now. No further. No different. And here's the part that should actually scare you. Tomorrow is a lie too. You already know that. You've said, tomorrow before. Ask yourself how many tomorrows you've burned. Now look at this. In 1612, a man showed up late, deliberately late, to the most important duel of his life. His opponent was the most feared, most lethal swordsman in Japan. The crowd had been standing on that island for hours, restless, furious, certain this man wasn't coming. He wasn't afraid of being torn apart by an entire country's disrespect. He arrived carrying a wooden or he'd carved himself on the boat ride over, while everyone screamed that he was already dead. The duel lasted seconds. That man was Miyamoto Musashi. 61 duels in his life. 61. 0 losses. Not one. He wasn't fearless. He had simply already decided, long before that island, exactly who he was, and no crowd, no fear, no humiliation was going to negotiate him out of it. You don't have that yet. That's why you keep losing to people who do. In the next 10 minutes, I'm going to take that away from you as an excuse, permanently. Because what made Musashi unbeatable wasn't his sword. It's a mindset you can steal today, and it's going to feel uncomfortable, because it should. Before we go further, if you're the kind of person who refuses to live small, subscribe. I post videos like this every week. Deep, but practical. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. The Boy with Nothing. Musashi wasn't born exceptional. That part of the story usually gets skipped. He lost his mother early. His father, by most accounts, abandoned him. He was raised by an uncle in a small village, with no formal dojo, no master guiding his hand. At 7 years old, he was already practicing alone in a courtyard, swinging a wooden sword at nothing. At 16, he fought in the Battle of Sekigahara, on the losing side. Most of the warriors who survived that defeat chose one of two paths, execution or suicide by their own hand, for honor. Musashi chose neither. He didn't see the loss as proof of who he was. He saw it as information. A data point. Something to study, not something to become. That single decision, to treat defeat as feedback instead of identity, is the first thing almost nobody talks about when they tell his story. And it's the reason everything that came after was even possible. Chapter 2. The Myth of the Talented Swordsman. Here's what people assume. Musashi won because he was the most gifted swordsman alive. He wasn't. He lost political battles. He lost friendships. He made enemies through arrogance early in life and paid for it. He was, by his own writing, far from a finished man. What he did have was a strange, almost obsessive relationship with consistency. Not the kind people talk about today, where consistency means showing up most days. His version was different. He called it hey-ho, strategy not as a tool you pull out during a crisis, but as a permanent posture. A way of existing. He wrote a line that still cuts, make your battle stance your everyday stance. Read that again. Not have a battle stance for battles. Make it your everyday stance. There is no version of you that trains and a separate version of you that lives. There's only the one you've been building, action by action, whether you noticed or not. Most people have two versions of themselves running in parallel. The version on good days, motivated, energized, posting about their goals, and the version on bad days, who cancels the plan, eats the convenience food, tells themselves, tomorrow. Musashi's entire philosophy was built around collapsing those two people into one. Chapter 3. Fudoshin, the mind that doesn't move. Musashi trained something the samurai called Fudoshin, the immovable mind. Not unfeeling. Immovable. He achieved it through a concept called Mushin, an empty mind. Not empty of thought. Empty of clinging. Letting fear pass without becoming panic. Letting confidence pass without becoming recklessness. Letting doubt pass without becoming paralysis. He didn't get there through quiet meditation in a temple. He got there by deliberately seeking out the best swordsman in the country, not to prove he was good, but to find exactly where his mind broke under pressure, so he could strengthen that specific point. This matches something neuroscientist Andrew Huberman has explained about how the brain forms automatic patterns. Consistency is trained not in comfort but through repeated exposure to manageable amounts of discomfort. Your mind doesn't become unshakable by avoiding pressure. It becomes unshakable by meeting the same pressure, on purpose, again and again, until it stops registering as a threat. Musashi sought difficulty deliberately. Not recklessly. That's not strength, that's recklessness wearing a costume. He sought the difficulty that was already on the path to what he was building, and refused to step around it. Chapter 4. Ichinen, one thought, total presence. There's a concept in his writing called Ichinen, one thought, one intention. The ability to put your entire self into a single moment of action, without a mental backup plan running quietly in the background. Musashi never fought with an exit open. Not because every fight was life or death in the literal sense by that point in his life, but because he understood something most people miss. Keeping a backup plan open doesn't protect you. It just guarantees that plan A never gets your full weight behind it. Think about how often you do this. You start something to see how it goes. You keep one foot out the door. You half commit, so that if it fails, it doesn't really count, because you weren't really trying anyway. Musashi's version of full commitment wasn't about gambling everything on one outcome. It was commitment to the process, because the outcome was never fully in his control anyway. He couldn't control whether an opponent was faster that day. He could control whether he showed up that morning having trained instead of rested on yesterday's win. That's where Ichinen actually lives. Not in the result. In the part you actually own. Chapter 5. The Cave. At 29 years old, at the absolute peak of his fighting career, undefeated, Musashi stopped dueling. Most people expect the story to end there. It doesn't. He spent the rest of his life painting, sculpting, writing, teaching, and he applied the exact same quality of presence to a brush that he once applied to a blade. His ink paintings of birds and bamboo are still studied today, not because they're technically flawless, but because of the stillness in them. The same Fudoshin, just expressed through different hands. 7 days before he died, alone, in a cave, likely from cancer, Musashi sat down and wrote 21 precepts. A final code. The Dakodo, the path of aloneness. He was dying. He had nothing left to prove to anyone. And he still wrote. The final precept reads simply, never stray from the path. Not Musashi's path specifically. Yours. Whichever one you've already chosen and keep almost abandoning every time it gets inconvenient. Chapter 6. What this actually means for you. Here's the uncomfortable part. None of this is about swords. It never was. The reason Musashi is still relevant 400 years later isn't because modern people duel. It's because the gap between who you want to be and who you actually practice being, every single day, is exactly the same gap he was solving for, just with different stakes. Psychologist James Clear has written that every action functions as a vote for the type of person you're becoming. Musashi arrived at the same conclusion centuries earlier, without the language of behavioral science, just decades of paying very close attention to himself. You don't have an inconsistency problem. You have an identity conflict. There's a version of you that exists when things are easy, applauded, motivating. And there's a version of you that exists at 6 a.m. when nobody's watching, when the only voice in the room is your own, telling you it's fine to skip it just this once. Musashi never separated those two people. That was the entire discipline. Not talent. Not motivation. Just the daily, boring, repeated refusal to let the easy version win. So if today you feel like that, like you've started and stopped more times than you can count, like motivation keeps disappearing right when you need it most, understand this, that's not a personal flaw. That's just what happens to everyone who hasn't yet decided who they are before the hard day shows up. Musashi didn't win 61 duels because he was unbeatable in the arena. He won because by the time he stepped onto that island, the decision had already been made. Months and years earlier, alone, with no one watching. The duel was just the part everyone got to see. If this gave you something to think about, subscribe. I put out videos like this every week. And let me know in the comments, what's the one thing you keep almost quitting? Let's talk about it. Never stray from the path.